Welcome to the Hair for Kids. Sit back and relax as we experience life with the Rebbe in 770, stories of Chassidim, and see how the Rebbe continues to find a way to connect to us and help every Yid. This episode is dedicated in honor of Mendel Chossid and Sora Denberg, in honor of their upcoming chasana, Dalet Tammuz Tov Pei Dalet, by their parents. And now, part 3 of the episode, Reb Mendel Futerfas. Being in prison for so many years, it was impossible to keep most of the mitzvahs, let alone the Hasidic customs. Not for Reb Mendel, he never missed an opportunity to do a mitzvah. Reb Mendel also managed to put on tefillin every day. He had smuggled a small pair into jail, and every day on the way to work, his non-Jewish fellow prisoners would surround him and protect him from the guard's view as he put on tefillin.
Zaidi, my mama told us the story of how the Cossacks would choose their best horses. What did Reb Mendel learn from that story?
Okay. In one Siberian camp, Reb Mendel slept in a hut with a Cossack named Uchov. He came from a Cossack family who still pledged allegiance to the Tsar, which now under the communists was a crime. That's why he was being punished in jail. One day, Uchov, tell me about your background and the Cossacks.
Well, in order to join the Cossack army of Russian Empire, you had to be of the strongest and the bravest soldiers. Their horses, too, were royal and strong without fear of danger.
How was such a special horse chosen to be part of the Cossacks' army?
First, they would train their horses on difficult obstacle courses that included smoke, fire, and terrifying jumps. Then they would take their horses to the raging Dnieper River and force them to swim across. Let me take you back to the time of that raging river.
Cossacks, let the 20 horses run through the river. Let's see what happens with them. Horse riders, are you watching the horses carefully?
Yes, but what should we look out for?
Look out for the horses that make it across to the other side of the river.
Okay, General. Only 4 made it across the other side of the river. What now?
See if any of the 4 horses turn around and swim back into the raging waters to help the weaker horses make it across the river too.
Sir, we see only 1 horse doing exactly what you said.
Okay, grab that horse. He has earned himself to be part of our fearsome Cossacks' army of horses. The horse has a good heart.
Wow, what that Cossack just told me, I can apply to my Avodas Hashem. When a Yid reaches a certain high level in his Avodas Hashem and completes his task, even if he only has a little strength left, his mission is to turn around, look back, and help those who are struggling. Search for those Yidden who are still showing a level of weakness in the, so to say, river of Torah, mitzvahs, and Yiddishkeit, and help those Yidden to reach a higher level too.
Wow, such an amazing lesson in Avodas Hashem.
Yeah.
Zaidi, can I tell you a joke?
Okay, go ahead.
Where do generals put their armies?
On the army base.
No.
Okay then, so you tell me.
In their sleeveys. Zaidi, can you tell us about the famous story of the tightrope?
The tightrope? Okay. In prison, the Gulag, together with Reb Mendel, prisoners would often gather to discuss what they used to do before being arrested. They were intellectuals, scientists, and engineers among them. Let's go back in time to listen in to one of those very interesting discussions.
Слушай, иди сюда. Что такое?
Hello, mates. Please speak in English so we can all understand.
Englishman. Okay.
No, okay, like that.
Englishman, I say okay.
Oh, forget about it.
Evgeny, I used to be a professional tightrope walker at the circus. I would dance and perform tricks while walking on a rope tied very high up between two trees or beams.
We don't believe your tale. You are just imagining it.
Evgeny, you don't believe me? One day, when I'll have time, I'll perform it for everyone.
On the day Stalin Yamachshamoy died, the prison guards gave everyone a day off. True to his word, the tightrope walker, along with many other prisoners, put on a performance. He walked on a rope tied high between two trees and balanced so professionally.
Very good.
Bravo! He did it!
Хорошо.
When he came down from the tightrope, a crowd gathered around him.
Evgeny, tell us, how are you able to balance so well?
Well, I've had years of practice. But there is one thing that you need to remember when you're up on the tightrope.
Do not look down. Do not think about the danger. Just remain focused entirely on the end goal and continue forward. When you manage to focus your mind, it becomes easier to succeed. What the tightrope walker just said is a lesson in our Avedas Hashem. In life, don't look down at another Yid. Focus your mind entirely on the goal and the purpose why we are here in this world and continue forward. This way, it will be easy to succeed. I say, follow the expert's advice.
Thank you, Zadie, for another inspiring story of Reb Mendel Futerfas.
Zadie, did Reb Mendel ever eat matzah in prison?
Good question. In prison, Reb Mendel was allowed to receive packages from his family and friends in London. They sent basic things like clothing and dried foods, but they never sent any holy items because they would be immediately taken away by the prison guards. One year, a month before Pesach, Reb Mendel thought to himself, I surely hope that my family will soon send me a package that will include some matzah for Pesach. Since it's food after all, my jailers won't take notice, and I'll be able to fulfill the great mitzvah of eating matzah on Pesach.
So, did he ever receive any matzah?
Unfortunately, no package arrived, so eating matzah on Pesach was another mitzvah that sadly Reb Mendel couldn't perform. Throughout that Pesach, Reb Mendel barely survived by drinking water and sugar cubes. However, the day after Pesach, as he was on the verge of starvation, this happened. Let's go back to the time a guard walks towards Reb Mendel's jail cell.
Futerfas! Here's a package that just arrived for you. Take it.
A package? I wonder what's inside. Oh my goodness! There's matzah inside this package.
I'm sure the prison has deliberately withheld this package from me until after Pesach. They are mamish shoyim. I'm so hungry. I will begin to quickly gobble up the matzah. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu, mitzi lechem min haaretz. Wait! What am I doing devouring this matzah? I'll wrap up the rest of the matzah in paper and put it away for next year's Yom Tov of Pesach.
Wow, Reb Mendel was such a special chassid. I can't believe he thought of that. I will really be careful to do all my mitzvahs with such chayas too. Zadie, Do you have any more stories about Reb Mendel in prison?
Yes I do, but first an introduction. When ships arrived at his labor camp to pick up logs of wood, the strongest prisoners were required to load them. Let's go back to that time as the foreman calls out to Reb Mendel.
Okay, Futerfas, you're a strong man. Go stand on top of the logs on the ship and guide the crane to unload the next log.
Since the crane was unsteady and it was difficult to balance on the logs, Reb Mendel was in constant danger of being hit and killed. However, as Reb Mendel was balancing on the logs, he slipped into the icy water below.
Let's dive in to save Mendel.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's save him.
When the prisoners brought Reb Mendel back to shore, they tried to comfort him.
Rabbi, we are so sorry this happened to you.
Are you okay?
How are you feeling?
Are you warmed up yet?
Thank you, everybody. In truth, I purposely slip into the icy water daily. And thanks to the anti-Semitic foreman, I'm thrilled to be able to immerse in the mikveh every day.
Wow! It's amazing how he really learned a lesson from everything. Was Reb Mendel always happy in prison?
Yes, in fact, there's an amazing story that Reb Mendel once told over at the Verbrengen.
Can you please tell us?
Sure. Let's go back in time to the prison.
Comrade Mendel, you want to know why you are always so happy?
Well, first tell me why all of you are so unhappy.
So, each prisoner told Reb Mendel the sad story of their lives.
I was once a famous engineer, and now look at me in the prison gulag. Duh. And I was once a respected lawyer, and look at me in this gulag.
Huh! And I was once a formal general in the Red Army. Look at me now in this prison.
Futerfas, that's why we are all so unhappy. All of us have lost our jobs, and our life now is to be a worthless prisoner. So, now tell us why you are happy.
Well, it's simple. Throughout your lives, you concentrate on your professions and your position in society. So as soon as you came to prison and your jobs were taken away from you, your self-worth disappeared. And so you think, what am I? However, my life is about much more than that. It's true that I was a successful businessman, but that was not the purpose of my life. I was a Chossid before I came to prison, and now in prison I'm still a Chossid. Nothing changed. So that's why I'm happy.
Zadie, that story is so inspiring. I'm going to personally work on being a happy Chossid. In 1955, after 8 years in prison, where did Reb Mendel move to?
Ah, you're jumping ahead. That's a story in itself. A few days after being freed, he arrived in Moscow still wearing his prison uniform. A regular person would just relax and rest after 8 long, horrible years. But Reb Mendel had no plan to rest after his long prison sentence. Let's go back in time as he meets a fellow Lubavitcher, Reb Moshe Katzenellenbogen, on a Moscow street.
Ah, Shalom Aleichem, Reb Mendel. Baruch Hashem, you have been freed from prison.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem.
So where do you plan to live?
Close to my friend Reb Moshe Vyshetsky in Chernovich, Ukraine.
Nice, they are good.
Zogmir, tell me, Reb Moshe, can you raise 1,000 rubles for me?
Wow, that's a large sum of money.
But I know that Reb Mendel goes on Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice for Hasidim. I'll help him raise the money. I'll do it. Thank you. Baruch Hashem, now when I come to Chernovich, I will be able to open a new cheder. I'm sure it will be difficult to raise the money in Chernovich.
As As soon as he arrived in Chernovich, Reb Mendel opened an underground secret cheder. When he found out that in Chernovich there was no Mehudadika mikveh, a mikveh with all the careful kosher details, he raised the money for that too. Reb Mendel kept a list of how much money he earned and planned to repay the loans to each person. The end of part 3 of this episode. Tune in and listen to part 4 of this episode coming up.
Thank you for listening to The Hair for Kids. Make sure to tell